I mentioned that every week I have some, throughout my days, I spend time meditating on different spiritual lessons. And based on experiences and discussions and interactions with others, this is a form of open-eyed meditation where we are constantly thinking and reflecting on our experiences on a daily basis, so much so we try to see what is it that we can extract every day of our life from our interactions with others, from calamities that we may suffer, headaches, fevers, and different physical difficulties. And what is the takeaway? What are the lessons that we can take from those experiences in our lives? So this week, I was being, the lesson that was coming at me very profoundly was this quality of patience. And it's a very powerful quality, because some of us may think that you should just push and just push through life and you'll make it somewhere. But the real essence is to understand, what does that push mean? Because you could snap, you could break, or they could break, and in the process, someone might actually not be able to accomplish what they were intending to accomplish. So I want to tell you a small story. This is a story from the Ramayana. This is a story of a lady. She was in this mountain called Rishyamukh mountain, and she was meditating there, and she found a teacher. And the name of the teacher was Matanga Rishi, the sage Matanga. And this sage, in his cottage, he meditated and he reached the highest desired goal of any sage, which is spiritual enlightenment and liberation. And this lady, Shavari was her name, she noticed how her teacher was so beautifully guiding the students, and his departure from this world was even more beautiful than his life, because he left with such joy and such elevated consciousness. And because those are the symptoms of attaining the higher realms of life. So she was thinking to herself, how can I achieve the same destination as my spiritual master? And then she recollected this instruction of our spiritual master, where the spiritual master had instructed her that every single day, please prepare your house, your cottage, your little cottage, as though God will come personally to give you his blessings by being present before you. And don't forget that every day you must also make an offering, prepare an offering. So forest dwellers, what does she do? Every single day, she goes out and she picks flowers and decorates the house, her little cottage, every single day of her life. And she goes and picks out these berries, because that's what the sages live on, fruits and nuts and berries. So this Shavari, this lady, she started to go to the forest every single day, picking berries and bringing bowls of berries home. And she would make sure that every berry she picked from the tree, every fruit she picked from the tree, she would taste it to make sure it was the sweetest fruit, so she could offer, just in case the divine personified would come and bless her with his presence. So in this way, she was living her life every single day. And year after year, decades have gone by, and her body started to get frail. But following this meditation that her teacher had given him, that prepare your space that God will personally come and reside in that, will be pulled. The Lord, the divine, will be attracted. So finally, in her very later stages in her life, then she was waiting every day, cleaned up her house, made it look pure sattvic, and waited for the divine to appear. And one day, that divine form of Lord Ram appeared along with his consort Sita and Lakshman. They were wandering through the forest. As you know, in the Ramayana, there is a beautiful story of that. And Ram personally came to her house, and she was completely amazed that through the simple meditation of meditating on the appearance of the divine in her heart and in her house, that Lord Ram had personally appeared in front of her. And she was so old, frail, and she slowly walked to the corner of her house where she picked those fresh berries, half-eaten fresh berries, and she offered them to Ram. Ram, as you know, is the expansion of the divine that came in Treta Yuga, in a age, two ages before this age. This is the Iron Age or Kali Yuga. Before this was Dwapar Yuga, and before that was Treta Yuga. Long time. So Lord Ram was so attracted, her devotion and her dedication for years. Such was her patience that Lord Ram personally came and gave his audience to this sage Shabari. And not only that, it explains that her devotion was so strong that she made sure, because her teacher had told her that make sure you pick the best berries, the sweetest berries to give to this divine form. And she did. And what did she do? She tasted each and every one. And as we know, whenever we cook anything we offer to someone, we should not have eaten it ourselves first, because that's not proper etiquette. You offer to the guest first, because they're considered to be, the guest is considered to be a demigod. And so she didn't follow that protocol. So when she brought the berries to Ram, then Lakshman, Ram's brother, is like, hold on. I see that each and every one of those berries were beaten. There's teeth marks on it. And Ram immediately told Lakshman, please relax. Let me enjoy the love of this lady that she's been cultivating for all these years. So this story we find in the Ramayana, in the great epic, where we learn that patience is the quality that one needs in order to have any kind of connection with the divine. And then I want to elaborate a little bit more on this topic of how patience is not just in connection to the divine, but patience is something that each and every one of us need to have and have to cultivate in order to be materially or spiritually successful. And this quality of patience where it comes from, how does it impact the quality of our life and the successes that we can have in life just by cultivating this quality. So first of all, I'd like to say that this quality of patience is a presiding deity. The quality of patience, there is a presiding deity of patience. And her name is Shaila Putri. It's an expansion of Durga Devi. You know, in India, they have this 9-day festival. They call them Navaratri. 9 days of festival, chanting, dancing, and feasting and fasting. So, thank you, Bruce. So this 9 days of fasting, because 9 days of fasting, because this Durga Devi, she has 9 expansions. And the first expansion is called the Shaila Putri form, which is the form of patience. This goddess, Durga Devi's expansion, she personifies patience. So any spiritual ritual or any spiritual activity that we do, or anything you want to accomplish in this world, you have to have patience, because patience is the quality of nature, Mother Nature. Her expansion is this quality of patience. And also, most of you know about yoga. Yoga, they have the 7 chakras in the body, although there is many more chakras than the 7 chakras. Chakras are energy vortexes in the body. So the root chakra, or your Mooladhara chakra, the energy of that chakra is patience. And if you don't have patience in spiritual life, then the probability of you having reached the highest pinnacle of spiritual success, that might be a long process, because we haven't cultivated the root, the foundation of our existence. And so this is, I'm giving you a little history, who patience is and what is patience. Now let's come back to reality in this world. In this world, because the world knows that the mind is one of the most powerful and the most dominant quality of the mind is to be impatient. And the world in this day and age is governed by this quality of impatience. That means we need instant gratification. We need it. If you want to get anything done, you need to get it done now. And I need it now. Everything is now. And now they're also trying to see how to get it yesterday, not just now. So this AI, artificial intelligence, if you look at, I was told all these dating sites that they have now, it's real simple. People don't date anymore. They just go to the sites, they swipe left or right and make quick decisions, right? And that's how the world we live in. You need this instant gratification, and that is the nature of the mind. And the world we live in is the world of impatience. Everything has to happen yesterday. And this is very much contrary to what the spiritual teachers are teaching us. One of my favorite teachers in this yoga tradition, his name is Rupa Goswami. He's one of the 6 sages of Vrindavan. And he wrote a very beautiful book. It's called Upadeshamrita in Sanskrit. Or if you translate it into English, it's called The Nectar of Instructions. And there, the 3rd verse, he explains this quality of dhairya. Dhairya means patience. And he explains how the body and the mind has its own momentum and own impulses. In Sanskrit, this word impulse is called vega. Vega, like vega is also known as an urge. So there is urge of the mind and all the senses. The body has urge. So he explains that the body and mind has its own momentum and has its own urges. And he explains that the day we can neglect those urges, the day we can, he doesn't say reject, he said neglect, because this urge is very important. He was very clear and specific, because the urges will always remain. Urge to enjoy the senses with their sense objects will never leave us. Those are our lifelong companions. So he says, don't reject those urges, but neglect those urges. So the momentum of the mind and the momentum of the body are natural to the human experience and the human existence. Because we have this powerful faculty called the mind, and that is the function of the mind. Thinking, feeling, and willing are the three functions of the mind. And those functions of those three sensations that we feel in the mind are always going to be there. So how do we find the way to neglect them and not reject them? It is simply through this quality of dhairya, of patience. When we have patience, then we are able to really, really have quality of life in this world. If we don't have patience, you will not be able to enjoy life. You will not be able to have any quality of life that is worth living. What does patience mean? Patience means to not know. To not know something. Because to know something is to always be in this mode of passion. I know it, I'm going to do it, and this continuous push to be in the mode of passion. I'm going to get this. I know I can do this. This constant knowing mentality. To know is to put yourself in the position of God. And because we are not omnipotent God, we are not the all-knowing God, we are small gods. Then when small God tries to fit into the shoes of the big God, the shoes is a little too big to fill. So it becomes an incompatibility in that relationship. So therefore, the sages are explaining to us that this quality of patience is the true nature of the soul when the soul is situated in its relationship with the divine in the heart. That is where true patience comes from. And there are many such stories that we can study about patience. But I was going to see if Balaram or Radhapriti, did you guys research this word patience? When I looked it up in the dictionary this morning, I'm like, I'm going to talk about patience. I want to know what the dictionary has to say about it. So then I Googled the word patience, and this is what I found. I want to share with you. The patience is defined as ability to wait, doing something despite difficulties is the second definition. And the third definition is suffering without complaining or being annoyed. I was like, wow, it's pretty deep, It's very deep definition, when I think of ability to wait, it's very powerful. Ability to wait, when I was thinking about that this morning, meditating on this, who can wait? Who has the time to wait? Because the mind has no time at all. The only aspect of our being that can actually be patient is when our intelligence and our heart is connected. And that means that there is acceptance of the unknown. That is what patience is. That there is something that I do not know. Let me wait and see what happens. So this is what I was thinking, ability to wait. And then doing something despite difficulty. This is something we always discuss in our sanghas, that in our sadhana, that we must practice every single day our sadhana, our meditation, our breath work, our yoga, our personal sadhana, our prayers of gratitude. We must practice every single day. And there will be days that it's so difficult. I'm not feeling well. I had a bad night of rest, and could be a million reasons why we should not dedicate time to our personal spiritual growth. Million reasons. To make your commitment to your morning sadhana to yourself, for yourself, is very difficult. But if we do it every single day, that is patience. Doing something despite it being difficult. And the funny thing is that the more difficult it is, that means you're making progress. I was told that the diamonds are found in coal mines. Because of pressure, diamond is created. So if we can withstand the difficulties, difficulties we understand from the yoga text, it's not just one kind of difficulty. Everything in this world is difficult because there is adi bhautik, adi daivik, and adi atmik. Pain and suffering that is caused by higher beings, natural calamities, earthquakes, tsunamis, forest fires. Then there is difficulties that is given by other living entities. I live with Balaram and Veda and everybody in the monk mode ashram. And, they come knocking on my door when I'm in the middle of something, and it may be annoying. I have to tolerate. I have to be patient. And I annoy them all the time. I'm like, what are you guys doing? And they have to tolerate me. They have to be patient with me. So the ability to continue in the spiritual journey, even though we have difficulties caused by other living entities. They're called adi bhautika klesha. Adi daivik is the divine higher beings causing suffering. Adi bhautik is suffering from other living entities. And adi atmik is the suffering that is provided by our mind and this body. It is constantly causing difficulties to do whatever the mind wants it to do. But we continue on cultivating and nurturing this inner sanctuary of the heart. And then the third definition, it says, suffering without complaining or being annoyed. I was like, whoa, this is intense. This is what patience means. This is too much. And I realized that maybe I don't have a lot of patience. And this is the reality, that whenever I think of suffering without complaining or being annoyed, I think of these great saints in India who lived hundreds of years ago. The sage Haridas Thakur, similarly, just like Jesus Christ, he was beaten and dragged through 21 marketplaces. Imagine, Your body, your frail little body being dragged through 21 flea markets while you're whipped. Tell me that's not painful. I don't know how many markets Jesus had to go through where people were just, throwing stones at him and insults and so much suffering and pain. But he never complained. But Jesus never once complained about his suffering and pain. Because when you are situated in your heart, in your true essence of cultivating the spiritual patience, you are no longer connected to this body. The body, it's its own compartment, his own energy, is doing its own thing. And you are on a different dimension. When we increase the quality of our life, our consciousness goes up, the dimensions of our existence starts to shift. Yesterday, I was reading this book about a sage called Vamsidas Babaji, which is the most exotic, eccentric saint, one of the in India. But, not too long ago, about 200 or so years ago. It's so exotic. And he, completely devoid of his acknowledgement that he had a human body. He was so high above there. Someone came to offer him a jackfruit, a ripe jackfruit. And he looked at the guy and he chased him with a stick. He chased him with a stick. He said, "How can you offer this jackfruit to me when you know I'm going to offer it to the Lord of my heart? And you have already eaten this fruit before. You can't give your remnants to God. That's not nice. Get out of here." So he chased him out. Very exotic personality. Many, many beautiful stories of how he was completely detached from the body and his consciousness was so high. And that is accessible to all of us, that we, through the practice of our daily sadhana, we can have access and this deep connection with the divine, so much so that the whole world stops because you are patient. There is no rush in your world because time is not yours. You are operating under divine time. And this is what my meditation was for this quality of patience. My 30-minute rant is over. So now I wanted to ask, Radha Priti, we have done some service together. I asked her to think about this quality. What does it mean to you? This quality of patience. Radha, you want to share?
Sure. I was just thinking, I looked up some quotes on patience, and what I found a couple interesting ones. You want to hear them?
Yes.
All right. One from Bruce Lee. He says, "Patience is not passive. On the contrary, it is concentrated strength." I liked that one. Because the next one, okay, listen to the next one. It's kind of along the same lines.
Let's unpack that one. Concentrated strength. Strength means ability to withstand the temptations and the urges and the impulses of the mind and the body. That is what strength is. So yeah, it's a very powerful statement he makes.
Yeah. The next one says, "In any contest between power and patience, bet on patience." And you want to know who said this one? This was interesting. William Prescott. Do you know who he was? He was the leader of the Patriots during the Revolutionary War. He was famous for saying, "Don't fire till you see the whites of their eyes." Or anyway, I just thought it was interesting. Such a powerful war leader to say that in a contest between power and patience, bet on patience. But then I was thinking that I don't think patience either is just like not acting. I feel like patience speaks more to like the state of the mind. So we know our duty, we perform our duty with diligence, and then we're patient for the results. And in that way, I feel like that's like true power. So it's not like just being patient. I'm just going to be patient, and not do anything. It's like, no, we act, but then we're patient, understanding that, like you said, we're not the controllers. What do you think of that?
Yeah, patience is not passive. Yeah, it's active, because the action is happening in the mind first. The body is simply the later stage of making a mess in the world. But real war is happening internally. So when we are able to withstand the impulses of the mind and the body, it is work, man. When you are an alcoholic and you see alcohol all over the place, the war is not outside, the war is inside. You have to withstand your urge to go out and get drunk. It's a lot of work, and that requires character. And character is the natural quality of the soul, which is, in its spiritual essence, this quality of patience. It's the foundation of the soul.
Okay, so you're saying patience starts in the mind, and it could be independent of what our external actions are. So it can either be doing nothing because we're withstanding, or it can be acting and being patient for the result, but it starts in the mind.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
Yes, my take on it, my experience, my realizations on it.
Yeah.
Balaram, you want to share? Radha, you have more?
I had one more that I thought you might like. This will be the last one.
Share.
Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. Chinese philosopher said that, the founder of Taoism. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished.
Everything happens in the course of time. Yes, very nice. Balaram, you want to share something? I see you looking very closely at the screen.
I'm enjoying hearing you all glorify patience. I'm not sure I'm very patient, but I feel really glad that every class that you talk about this quality, and I'm like, dang, I wish I had that. And then you're like, yeah, but it's the natural quality of the soul. And I'm like, oh, thank goodness. Okay, I just gotta, be patient? Okay. Yeah, it's I was thinking of some of the experiences we've had in the ashram around patience. I think it's not the gift of young people. I think maybe it's something, one of the benefits of getting older, that you continue to develop patience. I know sometimes my parents look at me and they see something so clearly that's coming to me, and they don't understand why I'm freaking out. Because for them, a decade is another decade. So they're thinking, you're doing great, you're going to be fine. And I'm thinking like, no, I'm not. It's all, I'm going to die today. It's going to end. Like I can't control it. So I feel I don't have it. And that's one of the most important things I've seen getting closer to my parents in the last year. Like they have that perspective. And I was thinking of the difference between faith and patience. When you're really connected to the fact that something's coming, it's faith, but it's not blind faith anymore. Like there's the famous quote by Bhaktivedanta Swami about, he had this mission that he was going to spread bhakti all over the world. And he said, it's already done. It's just the only thing separating us is time. And it's like, what kind of vision is that? Like, you could say that, it sounds cool to say, but who actually thinks that way? Like, that's crazy. Like, what are you talking about? But to actually, so, and that's the strength of influence, right? Like the ability to keep investing in something that you're not going to see the fruits yet, and to keep pouring into it and you're not going to see the fruits. And that strength of character is the difference between the person who eventually gives up and says, oh, I don't see the fruit, so I'm done. And somebody who's able to have faith and be patient and say, you know, this is right. This is, I'm making an influence. I can't control the outcome, but I can make the influence. And that's pretty cool.
Nice. I want to tell you another story. Somehow I like stories, you know. Should I tell you another story of patience? This is a story from southern India. There is a beautiful temple of Ayappa. Ayappa is the form of God that they worship. And it's carved out of a stone slab. So the stairs, you can find it in Tamil literature, they talk about these qualities. The stone slab, there are slabs, stones that you need to climb up to go to the temple. So the stone slab that everyone is stepping on, he is complaining to the deity Ayappa. He said, look, everyone is stomping on me every single day and I have to tolerate this nonsense. Well, as you just stand there and everyone is just praying to you. This is so unfair. Does it sound common to us? We're always thinking that everything is unfair in this world. So this stone slab is complaining that everyone is stomping on me, standing on me, walking on me, while as you are getting worshipped and adored. Imagine the deity is also carved out of the same stone slab as the marble. We are the same. And why is it that you get all the worship and I get all the stomping? This is not fair. Then the stone speaks, the deity speaks to the stone slab and he said, you know how long it took for them to carve me out of that stone slab that you are? It took decades and decades of, you know what? This guy carver, he is chiseling. He's using the hammer and the chisel and nailing it into my body and chiseling my body. You know how much I have to tolerate? And then the marble slab goes, oh, okay, I get it. And the story the sages explain is that in life, it is only through patience that you actually are acknowledged and admired and worshipped in this world. It is the quality of patience that really, really, really makes someone shine. If you look at, I was thinking today also, like women sometimes and men in their relationships, the most difficult times in relationships is one partner becomes impatient with another. And that impatience is shown through how much one partner is willing to sit and listen to another partner. And we both partners get together, and if one or the other is impatient, then the relationship starts to have so much friction. And all relationships in this world, if we simply practice patience, if we simply give each other time and hear one another and listen to one another, then our relationships would be the most beautiful, the most gratifying, the most connected, the most joyful relationships ever. But we have to practice patience. And it is this quality that glues all people together. It is this quality that makes you effulgent. It is this quality that people will worship and adore you. So this is what my mind thinks of whenever I'm thinking of this quality of patience. I see Keshavacharya Prabhu looking at me. Prabhu, you want to share something about patience?
what came in my mind just was everything which comes quickly and easy, we forget easily. And everything who we have to really work for it, and like this chiseling you explained before of the deity, then what we have to really work for it, be patient, that really stays with us. And so therefore this quality of patience is so fundamental. Like you quoted Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Nectar of Instruction, and in the same time he says you have to be enthusiastic and patient. So they have to go together, kind of, in spiritual life. If we want to become patient, we need the enthusiasm too. So yeah, it's really nothing comes easy. Nothing. Like you can learn an instrument, or I'm building a house here, and it takes years. My father gave me this beautiful farmhouse, old farmhouse, and to make out of something, I'm working since years. And I'm just doing and doing, and slowly things come. So yeah, like this patience is so much needed. So much needed. Without we give up. We need patience for ourselves. Like I'm reading just now books where it's just about ourselves, and we need to be patient with ourselves first. That if we don't have patience with ourselves, we will have no patience with others. So this is just a few things what came in my mind.
Beautiful.
Like,
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I want to tell you another story. You guys want to hear a story? I don't know. I'm in a story mood today. This is a story of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was a saint that lived in India about 537 years ago, to be exact. And he had a young student. His name was Raghunath Das Goswami. He became one of the sages of Vrindavan. And he had approached at a young age when he saw his spiritual master, and he was so full of enthusiasm. He said, I'm ready to give up everything to travel with you and just be your servant and just dedicate my life to you. You know, they have beginner's enthusiasm, when you start something, like new, the relationship is just like, oh my God, you can't live without each other. And then after a while, you're like, you can't live with each other, like how this thing happens. So he was so excited to be with his guru. And his guru, his teacher, is very clear. Sthane sthitam shruti gatam. He used this term. He said, this is not your time. You need to stay here with your parents and take care of your parents. And once they're gone, then you come to me. And he was so impatient. And that's when his guru tells him, relax, chill out, boy. It's time for you to become patient, practice this quality of patience. And every day of his life that he was patiently waiting to be with his guru, his meditation was so intensified that he wanted to be with his teacher. He was considered to be one of the most richest prince of his time. The richest. I mean, extremely wealthy. But his meditation was such that he completely detached himself from his wealth, and it became so pure that when the day his parents left this world, he started running. He was in Bengal and he literally ran to Jagannath Puri where his spiritual master was. And it took him, I think it was like 4 months, walking through the jungles, didn't care. He was just burning with this deep, intense love to be in connection with his spiritual master. So patience is what cultivates and nurtures this beautiful quality of intense desire to have that spiritual experience. So hasty, when we try to rush things, is the nature of the mind. So hastiness is the nature of the mind, and patience is the fortification that we need to cultivate and let our heart naturally grow in its love for the divine. So this is what I would like to share with you, what's in my heart today. We have 6 minutes if there's any questions. Yes, Narayani Devi.
Good morning. Thank you. It was a beautiful message. I appreciate it. How closely related is patience and surrender? Can you talk about that? Because it seems like in order to have patience, I always need to surrender. Are they different deities or are they the same?
It seems like they're twins. Because when you have patience, that is coming from the heart. And it's the same source of surrender. Surrender comes from the heart. Surrender is not from the mind. The surrender from the mind will last you a few days, a month, and it will be conditional. As long as you tell me what I want to hear, I will surrender to you as my teacher. And when you tell me something I don't want to hear, I reject it. So this comes from the mind. And surrender and acceptance and patience, these are all beautiful qualities that come from the heart, because those are the true nature of who we are. We are naturally surrendered and naturally accepting souls. All the rejection, all the negation, all the resistance is provided by the mind. So they're very closely connected. The source is the same. I don't know if that helped at all, Narayani Devi.
It does. I just was, as you were speaking, thinking about all the times I've had to have patience. I've also had to surrender.
Yes. 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 Okay. Any other questions or any other thoughts? For those of you who joined later, I want to thank you so much. We had Isabel for joining us. Thank you, Isabel, for joining us on the Heartspace. Susan, thank you for joining us on the Heartspace. Anandini, thank you for joining us on the Heartspace. In Tenerife, and then we have David from Connecticut. Thank you for joining us on the Heartspace. Connor from Idaho. It's another beautiful soul up there in Idaho. Thank you for joining us in the Heartspace. Remco, thank you for joining us in the Heartspace. And then we have Nitya Leela Gorangi from Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you for joining us. Was there another question, or are we good?
There's 2 questions.
Okay. What
Baba
are the
Marie has
questions?
one.
Hi, Krishna Prabhu. I just wanted to ask you if you would please repeat that statement you made. It seemed like it would be a very good quote. You said that haste is a natural quality of the mind and patience is the
fortification that we need to let our heart naturally grow in its relationship with the divine. That is what my conclusion was. So I thought I should leave you with that thought. I mean, we need that fort to protect our heart and the relationship we have.
I think you should coin that quote. It was very, very profound.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you.
Haribol.
Haribol. Second question. Keshavi.
Nitya Leela says, going back to the surrender topic, is it that first we use the mind to choose the right path and then use the heart to surrender?
Oh, very good question. Yeah, the mind generally does not help us choose the right path. It is the intelligence. The mind is like a child. It doesn't always know what is right and what is wrong. And the child should not be rejected, should not be neglected, and the child should be negotiated and have a deep relationship with, whereby the mother or the intelligence makes that choice and the heart will eventually surrender. So that's why I will give you these 3 steps on how to practically practice this patience. In spiritual life is 1 step at a time. We have to keep in mind, speech is the source of creation. Anything you want to manifest in this world, it comes through sound. Everything in this world was created from sound. And the reality that you have in your world is the sound that comes out of our mouth and our minds. Everything, your reality which you are living right now, is the creation of the sound vibration that you have put into your space and the mind, and that's why you have your reality. So the yoga explains 1 step at a time. The journey to the heart, from the mind to the heart, although it's only a foot long, but it is very, very far, because the mind is not here, it's gone everywhere, but here. And so that's why, to bring it back into the heart, it starts with 1 step at a time. So that is how we practice patience. Something is going on, we have to immediately pause. Whatever it is that's going on, we take a pause, and the second step is to go approach whatever it is that you're doing slowly. Don't just jump into anything, because what happens is that's the nature of the mind. The mother is always cautious, using intelligence. And then patience is guided by intelligence, and that intelligence should be guided by a teacher. This is the recommendation that is given in the wisdom texts, that we need to have a guide. We need to have someone who's looking at it from a zoomed out perspective. That's why we have the GPS, global positioning system, satellites that can see everything and can also see the details. And in our spiritual practice, we have something called a GSS, which is Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, which means we should have a teacher that can guide us, that are we properly practicing patience. So thank you so much. Our time is up.
Thank you so much.
So
Was-
grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Grateful to each and every one of you for joining us
Thank you.
on this
Haribol.
Heartspace call. Please enjoy your wonderful
Thank you.
weekend, and namaste.